next?
Well, then I went to the phone booth, which is located on the corner of 2nd Street and Pittsburgh, I believe it is.
Did you come in contact with the person you now know as Jeff Dahmer?
Yes, I did. He offered to give me a ride to go with him to get his car, to bring it back, to jump start my car. He had the cab drop us off a little ways away from the house because he didn't want to he lived with his grandmother, and he didn't want to wake her up.
What happened when you arrived there?
I said, I'll just wait for you here. He was going in to get his keys, I believe, and I said, I'll just wait for you here. And he said, no, why don't you just come on in? It'll just be a minute. And he offered me a drink. The next thing I recall happening was thinking to myself, why is he looking at me like that? Because for the first time, his eye contact was solid. He didn't divert it at all. And it was almost as though he was waiting for something. I'm thinking to myself, what is he waiting for? So naturally, I started to drink the coffee quicker because I became uneasy to get out of there. And the next thing I remember was becoming extremely dizzy and my head starting to go down, and that's it.
When you say "and that's it," do you mean you passed out?
Yes.
What's your next memory?
Woke up in County General Hospital in Milwaukee.
Were you missing any property?
Yeah, I was missing. Excuse me. I was missing all of the cash from my wallet, and I was missing a bracelet that was on my right arm, and a herringbone chain that was around my neck.
If you know, did the hospital remove your clothing at any time?
No, they did not. I don't think they had a reason to.
When you next undressed, did you notice anything wrong with your clothing?
Yes.
What was that?
I noticed that my underwear were on inside out.
He states that there was one more occurrence that happened, but this time the individual woke up prior to him being able to kill him, and he was also seen by his grandmother with this individual in the basement, and he decided not to kill him.
As Mr. Dahmer described it to me, he drugged the man in the basement, and in the morning the man woke up after Mr. Dahmer had had light sex with him. Mr. Dahmer then took $80 from him, walked him to the bus stop, saw him get on the bus, and said, quote, he was really out of it, drugged, and apparently woke up in some hospital and that was it, end quote. I asked him if he thought he was going to get caught for that, and he said, no, because I hadn't hurt him in any way. And I said, well, you drugged him and took money, right? And he said, yeah, I figured they would just think that he just lost the money and that he'd been drinking.
But Dahmer did trip up after letting another underage victim escape.
Did he say anything to you?
Yes, he told me, like, he asked other kids if they would just pose for, quick $50.
If they would pose for a quick $50?
Yes.
And what did you say to him, or what did he say to you then?
I asked him if it is his career or he said it's a hobby.
He said it's a hobby?
Yes.
What did you say then, or what did he say then?
He asked me if I want to pose for him just for a quick $50.
What then happened?
Then we start walking to his apartment.
After it had been pulled, your shirt had been pulled up to your neck area, was a photograph taken?
Yes. He offered me some drink.
Did he say anything to you about what you should do, if anything, with your zipper?
Yeah, he said that I should put it all the way down and then, show my underwear.
And you put it halfway down, and then what did he do?
He put it all the way down.
And what else did he do?
And then he grabbed my penis.
He went under your underwear and grabbed your penis?
Yes, he did.
And then after he kissed your stomach, you said, I got to get out of here, something like that. What did you do then?
I just grabbed my book bag and then I opened the door and
You moved to the door of the apartment?
Yes.
Was the door of the apartment closed at that time?
Yes, it was.
And had it been closed after you entered the apartment?
Yes.
And what did Mr. Dahmer do when you went to the door with your book bag?
He said, wait, don't forget your money, and don't tell no one that I'm doing this.
And what happened then? Did he give you the money?
He gave me the $50
When is the next time you became conscious of where you were? Where were you?
at the hospital.
Are you employed as a City of Milwaukee police officer?
Yes, I am.
And what rank do you have?
Currently a lieutenant of detectives.
How long have you been employed by the Milwaukee Police Department?
Since 1974.
Did there come a time on September 27, 1988, that you were at work in the Milwaukee Police Department headquarters?
Yes.
Where is that building?
749 West 8th Street, City of Milwaukee.
Did there come a time that you were aware that an investigation was underway in connection with a sexual assault on a 13-year-old Laotian young man?
Yes, I did.
He is a minor, and for reasons of protection of his name, he has been referred to in these proceedings as SS. Would you continue to refer to him? The jury is familiar with his full name.
Yes.
What information did you receive, basically, that caused you to become involved in the investigation?
At approximately 12:20 a.m. on September 27, 1988, officers Robert Enters and Gary Temp brought SS into the sexual assault unit of the Milwaukee Police Department.
And had officers gone out to the home and then with him gone to the apartment building where this took place and identified the particular apartment with his assistants?
That is correct.
And those uniformed officers from the manager had secured an individual's name and the location of his employment. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And you had information that that man was Jeffrey Dahmer, that he was employed at a near West Side chocolate factory, and that he was a third shift worker. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And armed with that information, did you leave the Vice Squad offices and go to that West Side chocolate factory?
Yes, but prior to leaving, I showed SS a number of photographs, including the person who had been identified by the apartment manager, and SS positively identified Jeffrey Dahmer as the person who had taken him to his apartment and taken these photos.
This is what you refer to in police work as a photo array. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you had Mr. Dahmer's picture on file from an earlier case where he had indecently exposed himself.
That is correct.
Did you then go to that West Side chocolate factory with the officers?
Yes, I did.
Did there come a time that Mr. Dahmer was brought to you by employees at the factory?
Yes.
And what, if anything, transpired when did you recognize him from the pictures you had already shown the Laotian boy?
Yes, I did.
And what, if anything, any conversation occurred between you and Mr. Dahmer at that point?
At that point, I asked him if he was Jeffrey Dahmer. He stated yes, and at that time I placed him under arrest.
Did he ever confess to you that he had touched the boy's penis?
No, he denied that.
Thank you.
You have to ask this question. He plead guilty to the charge?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he may not have admitted it to you, but he pled guilty to the charge.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Although he was put under probation for 5 years, Dahmer was up to his lethal tricks again within 3 months.
Don't forget Anthony Sears, who died at the defendant's hands.
Solemnly swear all testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please be seated, sir. And then would you state your name, spelling your last name, please?
Jeffrey Connor, C-O-N-N-O-R.
Mr. Connor, you were a friend of Anthony Sears, correct?
Yes.
How long had you known him before he was killed?
Approximately 3 years.
You were friends?
Yes.
In fact, you were with Anthony Sears on the night he went home with Mr. Dahmer, weren't you?
Yes.
Let me draw your attention to Saturday night, March 25th, 1989. Did there come a time when you met with Mr. Sears that evening?
Yes, I did.
About when was that?
It was probably around 10 or 10:30 at his apartment.
Okay. Did you then go someplace together?
Yes, we had gone out.
Where'd you go out to?
We went to Lacage.
Lacage. What is Lacage?
Lacage is a gay bar in Milwaukee
Where's it located?
on 2nd National.
And how did you get there?
We took my car.
On that evening, did you come in contact with a person now known to you as Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yes, I did. I met him just prior to closing, which would be